Uncle Lamar didn't like to hunt?
I remember one time we went hunting up in Randolph, Utah, and Lamar didn't have a good time.
I don't remember. You never liked to hunt. You were too
we used
soft-hearted.
We used to go. It was a custom, you know. One day, I just got back from the army. I was on leave or something.
Couldn't you hold this? My hand
really
shakes too much and it just makes it all blurry.
Yeah. Physically, I was in really good shape.
If you want to zoom out, you can push that bar
Alan
whichever
Hyde
direction you want.
and I went with Dad. right up above our home.
Was Farmington Canyon, you mean?
Yeah, right above our home. Farmington Canyon
Was
was
that
up.
you that was with him when he couldn't get that deer out of the canyon?
Now, just a minute. Let me tell you this one first.
You gotta speak real loud so he can hear you, Pop.
I don't know if you know about this, but we went up and weren't up there very long. Dad popped a deer. And so we didn't have any way to bring it down. And it wasn't a big deer, but it was good size. So Alan and I started carrying it, you know, put it on a pole. And we came down on that hill was just like this, the mountain. We came down off there and we just really tired. And we couldn't even walk. And I was in good shape. And Alan was holding his own, but we were just exhausted. Dad had to get over the floor, I guess, to work. He picked up that deer, put it on his shoulders, and carried it all the way, the rest of the way into downtown.
And the two of you couldn't, but he could do
Well,
it by himself.
we took the hardest part of it, coming down.
Oh, okay.
But when we got down near the foothill, he amazed me. He picked that thing up and put it on his shoulders and carried it.
He was a strong man.
That's what I remember about him.
Wasn't he about 5'4"?
He was 5'6".
5'6"?
He had
I
really
don't
dark
think he
skin,
was that tall,
didn't he?
but
I remember him being
Suntan.
really dark, suntan, very suntan.
He worked outside all the time.
what's that?
He worked
Worked
out.
outside.
He worked outside
Oh
all the
yeah,
time.
he worked. But his family, the Thames were dark. The Farnsworths were light.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
I thought he was handsome as a little girl. I just
He
thought he
was.
was handsome and gentle and
I'm writing a
kind.
book about him.
Really?
And you know what the name of the book is?
Uh-uh.
Duel.
Who wrote it?
Cowboy. Duel.
Who wrote it?
He's right.
He's writing one.
Did you ever find out where
Dual
that name came
parented
from?
Cowboys?
No, but I've searched everything in the world. I've searched different languages and
For what name?
They used to
Duel.
call Dad Duel.
That was his
Oh.
name.
I didn't know that.
yeah, they called him Uncle Duel.
Really? I thought you just meant dual.
Well,
as
even
in
Paul,
two.
I remember him. He was always calling him Duel.
I never
Who
heard
was?
that.
Paul.
Paul
He called
Stately.
him Uncle Duel.
Who did?
Didn't Paul
Oh, he
call
was
him
big grandpa.
Grandpa
His
Duel?
grandpa.
Grandpa Duel.
Did you
I've
guys
tried
ever
every
find
spelling
out
you
what
can
a
imagine,
duel was?
searching to see if I could find out what, it might have been an old Scottish term or something.
Maybe it was just a nickname, you know?
Well, it was, but where would they have got it from? Because he wasn't a fighter.
Really?
I
Yeah,
come
so you
up
don't
with
think it means duel like in fighting?
No, I think it means duel, like two, because he could do the work of two men. He could carry a deer down by himself that two men couldn't do.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd
I
never
told
heard
that to
that
Mona
either.
and she agreed.
Yeah, so does Dad. He talks about him being able to handle a huge team of horses.
One day, Dad came down to Provo,
That thing still
Orem,
count?
when I was down there, I was going to school. And they used to have this thing where you take a broom handle, you, both of you hold it up like this, and then you bring it down, and whoever loses grip on it loses. I don't know. Nobody does that anymore.
I've seen it.
Yeah, they do.
Have you?
I've seen that. Yeah.
I've seen it where they do it this way,
That's a
but
stick
I haven't
pull.
seen it.
You put it up like this, and whoever it turns in their hands loses. Nobody could beat you.
The pull, Michael was the champion here for a pull.
Stick pull.
To pull this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it pulled down though.
Joseph Smith was a champion stick puller.
Yeah, that was this way though. That
Yeah.
wasn't
This was
what
a
he's
grip.
talking
This
about.
is a test of your
Back
grip.
then they had so much time on their hand, they probably did it this way. And then they started.
I'll tell you
Washington
what, I
Monday.
could beat everybody in leg wrestling except Dad because his legs were so short. I had to go all the way over to get him.
I could beat all my brothers in leg
Oh, yeah.
wrestling. I was the champion.
She would done that. She would hit us, and
You
we
guys
would
roll.
fly
That's
across
right.
the room. She'd get, hey Timmy, you're 2 years old and I'm 10. Come here, let me test you out while I still can.
No.
Do you remember the first time that David knew that Debbie couldn't push him around anymore, and he threw her down the stairs?
Yeah, I remember that.
What happened?
Debbie used to just chuck all of us around, you know. And she tried to throw David down the stairs one time, and he grabbed her and threw her down the stairs. And we were all like, okay, there's a
No,
new
we were
top
scared
dog.
to death. It's like, now who are we afraid of?
My mom, our mom, she was bitchy sometimes, you know. And my brother was 12. And
You talking about Lamar?
yeah, Lamar. And she was always yelling at him and stuff like that. And all of us. She was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And one day he was out on the lawn. And she came up and called him something. Told him something he didn't like. And he turned around and said, "Son of a bitch, don't you ever talk to me again like that." And that's when she knew that she had an adult who would talk back.
Who talked that? Who
My
talked
dad
that to?
would
Uncle
never.
Lamar
Talk to who?
to Grandma.
Can you hop around on a horse?
He was
Grandma would talk bad to others. But when he turned around and said, "You son of a bitch, don't you ever talk to me like that again," then she knew he was.
Do you know, she told me
Mother almost
100
threw him
times.
the bus driver one time.
We can't see you. We can't hear you.
She was going to Salt Lake on the bus, and the bus driver gave her too much change, and she says, "Hey, you gave me too much change," and she handed him a $5 bill back. He said, "Lady, I don't make mistakes like that." I thought she was going to throttle him.
She
said,
always
"Fine."
told me that she was the worst mom ever. She always told me that. She said I was a terrible mom. I was mean
Well, I
to my
got all my
children.
spankings from her.
She felt bad about it in her last year. She really did.
My dad gave me one spanking in my life.
Well, I told you
And it
about
was because of my mother.
because she told him to.
Yeah. I had, see that little toolbox over there? I got one like that for Christmas. And there was a pair of pliers in it that we'd kind of kicked around the kitchen for a while. Everybody used. And Dad always had good pliers. He carried them on his belt. And Mother said I had those pliers, and she said, "You get those put away, and they're your dad's, and you're going to lose them." This was upstairs in the apartment house. And I said, "Those are my pliers." She said, "No, they're not." And she came over and she started hitting me, and I grabbed her hand so she couldn't hit me. So when Dad came home, she told him I hit her.
No, Sean, put it back.
So he had to spank you, huh?
And he started in on me, and boy, she kept saying, "Do it again, do it again."
I guess she told me the truth.
No, that's not it. The truth is, he missed a lot of he should have had.
He missed a lot of that he gave us.
Mother's favorite weapon was a coat hanger.
Oh, it's all
Ooh,
good,
that would
Jeff.
hurt. Back in those days, those wire hangers.
We can come back tomorrow. And
We were
My
just-
mom was nice. She used a leather belt. We got to pick which one, and then we could never decide whether the wide one was better or the skinny one.
Wide, always go wide.
You like him?
Yeah, but you know what?
Why don't you like anybody?
Did you guys have to pick a switch or something?
No, that hit was whoever
Like your
was
Addie?
closer.
She's right
Whatever
there.
was sitting in the doorway, she would grab and
We
come
had a
out.
jump rope, a tennis racket. Actually, for a while, they had a paddle that they called psychology, so they could say they used psychology instead of
It said psychology on it. I use psychology on my kids.
Yeah, and that one broke on my backside.
And then there
Ping
was
pong paddle broke on my backside.
there was the cord to the vacuum cleaner because that was what was on.
That hurts.
Yeah.
There was my studded belt. That was fun.
It's amazing we all survived. We've all been beaten.
I never got sick.
Are you sure?
Just like once or twice.
That's why you're an evil child.
How many times were you whooped, Schley?
Hey, don't use belts on your kids. It causes brain damage.
You're supposed to hit nose of your hand.
That's true.